another match point.
Incredible third set here.
They changed their strategy a little bit and they fought their way back in.
There it is. Game, set, and match. Hello and welcome to the 2024-25 APTA Tour. We're live from the Birchwood Club in Highland Park, Illinois, bringing you the Birchwood Open with live streaming brought to you by the APTA membership and our tour presenting sponsors, Volley and Corient. Tournament support has been provided by the following local sponsors: Crane Construction, Mesero, Renovo Financial, Linwise Group, 28 Mile Distilling Company, and Milco Investments. I'm Mike Raleigh, alongside Guy Moore, bringing you the men's final between Adam Morgan, Graham McNerney, and Jonas Merckx and Brian Panek. Guy, welcome to the booth, my friend.
How are you, Mr. Raleigh? All is well?
All is great. Are you kidding me? We got a fantastic match shaping up here for the finals of the Birchwood Open. Weather is great. We have, just overcast skies. It's about 30, 35 degrees. So really, as far as the weather is concerned, there's no excuses, Guy. It's a perfect paddle day.
Yeah, it looks that way. We got Pat Layden up in the chair. I'll introduce our players as they come back to their sides. But, yeah, this is all hometown final, isn't it, Mike?
It is. It is. Yeah, and, I don't think that not only hometown final, but as we saw in the finals earlier, Adam Morgan's wife, lovely wife, Allison, was victorious in the finals, and she and Adam share the duties as directors of rackets here at Birchwood. So it's not only a hometown, but it's a home club for the Morgans. It's hometown crew. The pace is packed. Everybody's just anxious to get this match going.
Great way for members at Birchwood to spend their Sunday morning.
Yes, it is.
Both of their directors in the finals. Across the net there, in the maroon sweatpants, we have Jonas Merckx, just returning that ball. His partner in the white sweatshirt and blue shoes, Brian Panek. At the net, walking across in the gray sweatshirt, Graham McNerney, and his partner, Adam Morgan, in the white hat, navy blue sweatshirt, serving. Here we go, Mike.
And we're off. And, Guy, you probably haven't seen Jonas, or probably Panek. Panek was actually probably played in the and Jonas as well played in the was it Cabin Fever in the end of December. But Jonas, now in the ad side, he's the director of rackets out at Inverness Club, and he's a former tour player. Grew up in Belgium, went to school in the States. Huge cannon of a forehand. As you saw, he's got a backhand as well, but the sound of his forehand, it just makes a different sound. Brian Panek is a member at Sunset Ridge. Peter Burka claims that he taught him everything he knows, but, it's up for debate. But Panek is a real solid player. He's got a great two-handed backhand.
Hey, Mike, does Panek drive the ball?
Yeah, he can bring it, especially off the backhand side.
Well, then Burka can't claim that, then, can he? Well, the nice thing about Peter Burka is he never had to drive hard to be successful. Smart player.
That's so true.
When you have this team of McNerney and Morgan, both of these guys have been around the tour for a long, long time, but what a successful partnership early this year, huh?
Yeah, we were talking before they came on air. We came on air. They won one of the Grand Slam or Grand Prix, Detroit Invitational. They got to the finals of Charities, and they also won. Was it
Medina, right?
Medina? Yes. So they couple wins and a number of they lost in the finals to Regalado Salazar in Boston. It's a real solid, they're true and tested. Boy, and you see right away we've talked a lot about McNerney's blitzing and that imposing presence that he has moving in. See,
the interesting thing too, Mike, is, McNerney is a tall, big guy. When I say big, I mean just takes up a lot of space. I mean, he's got so much range, but his hands, I think his forehand volley is one of the best in paddle. It has been for years, but his hands are so quiet, and he doesn't lunge and reach and do all those things. That's why he's able to volley so well in transition.
Yeah, you put great hands on a wingspan of 7 feet. It's a pretty good combination.
You have a Boeing 777?
Yep. It's a well-placed drive there, just a little spot drive. Drove volley error up to a quick 2-love lead.
Yeah, and you'll see a lot of discipline, Mike, from McNerney and Morgan. I mean, that's just their MO. They don't give away a lot of freebies, and they keep their composure without a doubt. Be interesting to see if Panek and Merckx play kind of that slower style, or what we saw the first couple of games, looking to drive a little bit more. I mean, you would think that Merckx, with his tennis background, would be looking to do something like that.
Yeah, and I think the execution here, we've seen a few errors early on, and Merckx, I think he's just got to dial that in. Maybe be a little bit more target-minded. Putting the ball on paddle, more so to just kind of get that howitzer dialed in.
Yeah, for sure, and that's, as big as that offense is, it's having a target is so important.
Boy,
and everything's going their way right now, Mike.
Insult to injury there with a great drive off the top of the net for a winner.
Mike, what do you think about McNerney's serve? I feel like as this year's gone by, it's better and better.
Well, definitely, he does a great job of spotting it, moving it around. It's a relatively heavy, big kicker there. And the whole goal.
Yeah, that's what I'm noticing. More spin, but, as tall as he is, he could hit down on it more and hit those spots and angles.
And the whole goal truly in platform tennis, as you know, is you're not trying to win the point with your serve. You just don't want to put the ball in positions that they can absolutely, pound it. You just don't want to allow them to take it yard. More what I call like base hits or doubles. We don't want triples or home runs off that thing.
Right. And especially if you have a serve that could get to the screen, that eliminates the drive period. We'll see in this match as well. McNerney has a very good waterfall that he uses selectively. There it is.
Yeah. Boy, up to a quick 3-love lead here from McNerney and Morgan.
And the thing, Mike, about McNerney and Morgan is they're like a lot of the top teams these days. They have the ability to play any way that lends success. They check the boxes metric-wise in terms of, hey, can we play fast? Yeah, they're playing fast right now. How quick is this 3-love lead? Or do we slow it down and play 150 ball points? I mean, they could do either.
Right.
They're disciplined enough to do either.
Well, and you've seen they haven't. I think there was a fault, and that was the only in 3 games. That was the only point that they gave away. They didn't win them all, but they surely are not giving them anything. They're making Panek and Merckx kind of earn it. Curse of the throws a lob long, a little unforced error, as I'm mentioning how great they are.
And you saw McNerney there when he hit through Panek. He was just standing only on his line, not looking to cover anything in the middle when Panek was going to hit the ball that hard. Never even flinched.
And that's a good move there from Jonas to step over. And, it just is a way to temper what McNerney does so well, in that blitzing that, if he's now got to deal with Jonas stepping over and stuffing him. Boy, when it rains, it pours.
Yeah, they're up 2-love on that one. Shot. On the neck cords.
Yeah, so Merckx and Panek had actually a pretty good run through the tournament. The first round match they won rather kind of easily, but then they had a 3-set battle against a local team from Chicago. Vuk and Schumacher, they beat them 6-3 in the third, and then they beat the second seeded team of Granger and Ong 7-5, 6-3. And last night, under the lights, they had I wasn't able to watch it, but a dogfight against a team from out east. They beat Coutinho and Jefferson 2-6, 6-1, 6-3. So they've been battle tested. They put some miles. You see them settling in here. I like this. They're length of point. Yeah, the road to the finals here for McNerney and Morgan. They did not have to work as hard as Panek and Merckx at all. They hardly gave up more than 4 games an inning match they played.
Yeah, they just don't play many loose games. They just to beat them, you really have to break them down, and there's not a lot of freebies coming from McNerney Morgan's side of the court. All right, game point here. Brian Panek serving. I think Panek and Merckx want us just to keep saying how McNerney and Morgan don't miss, and then they miss, right, Mike?
So true. So if you're just joining us, we're at the finals of the Birchwood Open at Birchwood Club in Highland Park, Illinois. We've got the host professional, co-director, Adam Morgan serving, his partner Graham McNerney, Brian Panek returning on the ad side, and his partner Jonas Merckx on the deuce.
And Mike, I know we've talked about this before, but that sidearm serve was in vogue. I mean, I think probably 4 or 5 years ago, and then I think players tested it out and said, hey, I like it, don't like it. But, you know, Adam Morgan, he's one of the few that still utilize it, but, I mean, he hits it so well.
Yeah, and that ball never bounces, never jumps up. You know, it's always moving through the court. So the strike point of the returner, they're not able to, you know, their contact point is, you know, at best at, you know, net height. So they have to lift it rather than being able to drive the ball down into the court.
Right. Wow.
Pretty good volley.
Yeah.
McNerney not only had to deal with the handling that forehand from Merckx, but also he had to watch out for Morgan's head.
Good move.
Wow, that was McNerney made that look easy, didn't he? Just a little on the rise, little chip.
Yeah, he does that a lot. He also chips a lot of ball off the deck as lobs and just kind of speeds the point up without you not even knowing it because the ball's not going in the screen.
Watch Graham. I'm going to go cross court no matter what, but
Boy, great volley
See
from Morgan.
Yeah, that was not that easy, I'll tell you that much.
He had camped out on that net.
And you're right, the sound of that ball coming off Merrick's paddle is different, isn't it?
Yes. Careful with that overhead. That's feeding the beast there for.
And this is the style of play, Mike, I think that Merckx and Panek want. They want the quick exchanges, more the transition game, utilizing their drives and their volleys.
You know, and you see the respect, too, that they're paying to Merrick's forehand return. Because in all the matches that we've called, we haven't seen a lot of Australian or different, you know, net formation or serving formations from Morgan and McNerney in their other matches. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah. In this tournament, they really haven't had to either.
Yeah, but I mean, like, was it the Boston Open? You know, we didn't see it much against Regalado Salazar.
There's a little bit of that waterfall McNerney hits.
And you see that switch. They get McNerney running the show here with the overheads. I would anticipate, too. We've seen Panek and Merckx make that switch in the backcourt as well.
Do you like, with McNerney's height, him hitting the majority of the overheads, Mike?
Well, I think so. You know, and one of the things he does so well is he closes so well, too.
Like, yeah, there it is.
You know, and so he's not giving up anything. But I think he can hurt the team a lot more than Morgan can. You know, no slight to Morgan, but McNerney's just got, you know, more weapons. He's got the flop shot. He's got the cutter. He's got the roller. He's got a little bit of everything. Where Morgan, you know, is fairly more of a rolling. It's that heavy roller.
There you have it, a quick 3-2 lead for McNerney and Morgan. Talk about one of our great sponsors, Mike, Volley. Get a 30-day free trial with Volley. What's stopping you? Get 30 friends together and dive into a full month of elite training completely free. It's that easy. Ready to level up your game? Head over to getvolley.com/myclub and start your 30-day free trial today. I was saying in the previous broadcast that I'm sure out in Chicago, all those Chicago pros love and have that volley machine a couple weeks ago when it was a sunny -25.
That might have been the slowest volley usage of the entire season. I know that at Exmoor there was about 2 days where we hardly even saw anybody on the courts, but they're back at it now.
And like you were saying about the serve, I mean, Merckx places that well, and I mean, any ball on the serve that gets to the screen, assuming it's just not hit hard and flat, has a little spin on it, eliminates the drive, really.
And nothing, and the other thing it gives you is the little bit more time as well to get, solidify some positions at the net. Oh, wow, it's a good show of athleticism from McNerney there.
Morgan does such a good job of waiting for the right ball to drive.
And you just see McNerney, he's just waiting, he's just sticking his nose in there waiting to pounce.
You see the chain of driving here, 1, 2, right?
And, if you couldn't see where Merrick's eyes were, but he was truly concerned about McNerney. So he's got to keep the eye on the ball, but also pay attention to the blitz coming.
And talk about targets on a drive. I mean, Morgan only had a target there. I mean, he wasn't trying to hit through. He wasn't trying to hit around anyone. Just aiming right at him.
You were going to rip the shit out of that one.
Oh, hello.
Probably should have, shouldn't he, Mike?
Oh, that's a great volley.
Well, with a team like Panek and Merckx, you don't want to let them do what they want to do. I mean, they want to volley and they want to drive the ball, even though they obviously are hitting. But I would, just from the small amount, I mean, they like to play fast and they like to get caught in those exchanges, those transition exchanges.
See Pat Layden up in the chair. It's a tough job, and Pat's very involved guy. He does a lot of work with the Chicago Platform Tennis Charities, or the league in Chicago. Donates a lot of time, as well as is having a real job. But it's a shout out to all the volunteers here and really throughout the country that make these tournaments happen.
Yeah, we got, speaking of tournaments, we got a huge Grand Prix coming up next week in Short Hills, New Jersey at the Short Hills Club. Last Grand Prix of the season. And then let's talk about the Nationals a little bit, Mike.
Yeah, we got
Tell us about the new format this year.
Yeah, they're extending shifting the play to start on Thursday afternoons now, and at 1 p.m. start for both the women and the men. I think they'll play 2 matches on Thursday, and everything culminates Saturday evening for the men's and women's finals. So it's kind of I've been calling it the Super Saturday, that everything will be finished, hopefully, barring any poor weather, Saturday night. And reserving the Sunday for any weather, issues that might force play to be postponed.
Yeah, you'll see how creative McNerney is with his lobs. I mean, see those lobs there where he has Panek ducking. I mean, he's just lobbing so well right down the line, like right into that gray area. And McNerney also, he also changes the height of his lob. It's not necessarily that high, so he's taking time away from the net team as well.
You just feel it. He's just pulling the strings, right? Just
Exactly.
using that little scooch drive off the back screen to pull Merckx in and then push him back with that lob down the line.
Yeah, he's creating the pattern that he wants. And what Morgan and McNerney do a good job of is they set one another up. So the wheelhouse gets going on both sides. And that's set up, Mike, by the movement of the ball from the net team. But Morgan and McNerney are creating that by where they lob.
That's a great point. The lob is, they're looking for a desired and anticipated reply, right?
Well, and if you lob well, you can kind of dictate two things. You can dictate who hits the overhead and where the next ball's going.
Right.
So. All right, an add point here from McNerney and Morgan to go up 4-2.
Yeah, McNerney got a little ahead of that one.
Yeah, I think, McNerney's drive's always been better, just like all of our drives, the less time we have to think about it. More kind of the bang-bang play.
It's a nice spot from Panek there.
Sure was, and the height, too.
Off speed.
Morgan wants to volley. Yeah, off speed, up around the chest. Perfect. Just like that. It's now add Merckx and Panek.
Come on, let's go.
You get the sense, too, Mike, that just with the style of play from Merckx and Panek so far, that win or lose, this isn't going to be a 3-hour match. Now, if I jinxed us on that, I don't know if I should apologize or not, but. But it's fun to watch because there's just so much athleticism.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's you know, there's nothing skewed in terms of like the lob to drive ratio. It's not 100 lobs to 1 drive. It's just on both sides of the net so far. It's really just so far from a tactical perspective, it's just, you know, who's made the error, but
we're not seeing them make wrong decisions.
right.
But they are.
And you just saw McNerney block 3 balls in a row, you know, a combination of kind of a push lob and then like a little chip. And that's how he speeds it up without you really even knowing it. Like that right there. Yep, see? So 3 balls off the deck. And then,
Good
yeah,
volley
great
from
ball there.
Panek. Yeah, Guy, we got to talk a little bit about the team nationals coming up. Sign-ups go live tomorrow. The men will be in Chicago, April 5th and 6th. The women are this year out in New Jersey, Patty Hogan and Greg Morgan. You know, we're expecting 400 players plus on the men's side, and I think equal to that on the women's. And I've been getting a couple questions about kind of sign-ups. You know, as a captain, they'll need to go in and list a minimum of 6 players, names, and so the captain will sign up their entire team. Changes will be allowed, but just if you're a captain listening, you know, it's your duty as the leader to sign your team up on the APTA website. And, you know, we look forward to a great 2 days of team paddle. And I think the, you know, another questions I've gotten is, you know, can we have more than 6? You absolutely can. But 6 players will play each match. So, you know, you'll have some partners probably fighting over who gets to play. But, yeah, you can have 7. You can have even, we've had 8, as many as 8. But it will be a guaranteed fun will be had in every level. I believe Graham McNerney is forming a super squad, so we will have you know, PTIs in the negatives as well as up to, you know, 70, 75 PTIs.
Wow,
Nice
that's a great ball by Panek.
Was deuce number what, 17 here?
18.
18, okay.
Yeah, that was a great point right there. That had a little bit of everything. And when I said what I said earlier, that's how they want to play. Those are the exchanges they want because they're just so good at it.
Well, you know, and the tennis pedigree that Merckx brings to the, you know, he played on the tour. So his, you know, tennis skills are probably the strongest of all 4 players. But so he absolutely will thrive on those hand-to-hand exchanges.
And you see that he has. He's come out on the winning end of those so far. Mike, are you ready for, ooh, good hands. And that's the thing about McNerney. Again, he is just very, see, well, I guess he's backing up a little bit, but his hands were in front of him. I mean, he likes those exchanges as well. My question, Mike, is do we have on the women's or men's side this season any undefeated top teams in the United States?
I know on the men's side that Regalado Salazar lost to Broderick and
Christian.
How about Macy Elliott? Or have they lost?
I don't think they've lost. That's the team that I think has not lost this season yet on the women's side. Macy Elliott and Lynn Burris. I mean, that is not easy at this level to go a whole season and not lose a match.
Now, do you think that is positive, or is that adding more pressure to a team as we gear up for the Nationals?
That's a really, really good question. I mean, I think it's both, to be honest with you. You go in with the confidence of not being beat. Obviously, your tactics and the way you've played that whole season, you have that behind you. But you got a target on your back. I mean, everyone wants to beat the team that hasn't lost. But, I mean, I would rather go into it being the team that hasn't lost. How about that?
Yeah. It's a tough problem to have, right?
Yeah.
4-3 all.
Yeah, and this match has kind of slowly turned into, I mean, look at the lob to drive ratio here. This is exactly how these guys want to play. And then the question is, what do McNerney and Morgan need to do about that? Well, it's simple, volley well. That's it.
And as we know, it's a tough strategy to execute. Where you're working the drive so much that, and we saw Merckx make that last point. He had 3 really good drives and then missed one. They just let it go long. So it's tough to, that's tough, really tough to do consistently. So I think they have to, they being McNerney and Morgan, really just weather the storm, volley well, and continue to, make them really execute those drives.
And that's kind of the interesting thing in some of these tournaments as well. Whatever style of play you had in the first round or two, does it equate to what happens in the semis or finals? And obviously, as the matchup changes, your style of play has to change based on the matchup. I mean, as long as it's working, obviously, roll with it. Quick 40-love lead here. Graham McNerney serving.
Boy, it's hard to, and you just see that, they work so hard to get back to 3-all, and then it's that quick game. It's 4 errors, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it can work for you and against you. And talk about weathering the storm, that's kind of what McNerney and Morgan are doing there. New ball from Mr. Layden. Brian Panek serving, 3-4. You don't see that much from Morgan.
Must be a bad ball, right?
Had to be. Mike, have you been in the chair lately?
I have not been in the chair. I think the last time I refereed a match, I was standing at the side of the net post. And it was about 20 degrees. And I promised myself I would probably not do it again. It's hard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering. I mean, being in the chair, it's a lot higher than it seems, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's up there. It's up there.
I mean, that's 12 feet, head height there for Pat
Right.
Layden as top of the screens is 12 feet in the air.
That's what McNerney's so good at. Just, those balls off the deck. And
And I love that volley from Panek. There's times where, you've got a player that's trying to instill their will and move forward. You've got some, rather than trying to avoid McNerney, he volleyed it right back at his feet. Great communication.
yeah, Morgan and McNerney just, with their experience too, Morgan does a really good job of sliding to the right and getting out of Graham McNerney's way so Graham can swing away and control the tempo. But generally, Morgan's always there when McNerney needs him there to volley. So that's why McNerney's overhead's so good, because he doesn't have to scramble back in all the way up to the net to hit volleys, because Morgan's there and he's hitting all his overheads off his front foot. See if they switch here.
I think Merckx has got to, if he's going to drive it, he's got to be fully committed. It didn't look like he had that. Commitment level was
Yeah.
not high on that last drive.
Yeah, with the target. And then they organically switch there. Ooh. Morgan going to stay back here, Mike? Nope.
Nope.
Well, by McNerney staying there in that Aussie formation, Morgan coming in, he's only got that one spot to look to cover the drive, especially with McNerney not moving at all. Says straight line drive's a lot easier to deal with than the one with angle.
Well, and two, even if he doesn't volley it, it's coming straight back off
the screen, right?
off the back
Yep.
screen as well. So he's not chasing
Yeah, I like
the
that
ball.
play.
Boy, great volley there. Takes us double set point.
Mike, in a match like this, in this matchup, what do you think from McNerney and Morgan's side of the net, what the best asset they have is? Overhead, serve return, volley against this matchup? Does that make sense, that question, or not really?
Yeah. I think the thing that, and it is not limited to this matchup, but it's almost what McNerney does so well. That transition and the blitzing, it's, I think, unsettling to Panek and Merckx. He's the factor that they have to deal with every time that, Morgan's driving the ball.
Right.
There's that threat, that consistent threat of, it's a constant pressure of the blitz that I think is the differentiator right now, because then the drivers are having to, or the volleyers are having to, worry about more than one thing. It's almost the
Right.
volley itself is secondary to the threat of the the blitz.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and you're essentially saying the same thing I wanted to say is, if I'm answering my own question, yeah, I just think McNerney and Morgan's volleys, whether it's in transition or at the net, are just rock solid. So Merckx and Panek aren't getting the free mistakes that maybe they got in the earlier rounds of the tournament. Whether it's in transition or them standing there, and that in turn puts pressure on them to try to make their drives better, which obviously leads to some mistakes. There's a McNerney waterfall. Look where Morgan is. What are you doing, Morgan?
Yeah, it's like, I'll just fill the space. Just
Yeah. Interesting stagger there, huh? McNerney up that far up playing the deuce side of the court. I mean, and then if you're playing in that tactic, which is, and that's what I'm talking about with the volley, just such a good close, just neutralizes the drives from Panek and Merckx. But if they're going to play in that stagger like they are there, you know, Morgan's going to have to cover more overheads in the middle, which he is. As long as you know what's your job description based on whatever formation you're using. Good move by Panek and Merckx not to even come in there.
oh, what
Wow.
a point! Give it a standing ovation there. You know, Lady Luck. It's a heck of a time to have a let court winner.
Set point, Adam Morgan serving 5-3.
McNerney was like a thief in the night there, just standing off to the side of the court and then sneaks in and hits that volley.
I still say some of the best part of the transition, it's actually been on both sides of the court, is that when any of these players are transitioning in,
That's game.
they are
first.
not looking to lunge across the court. They're staying on their line, which is their first responsibility.
Good point. And that, speaking of point, that is our first set. We will be right back after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel presented by CSM Media.
At Volley, we build tools to unlock your potential. The new Volley PTI feature breaks down your game like never before. Ever wondered, which partner has impacted my PTI the most? What's our win percentage as the favorite or underdog? Do I perform differently in 2 or 3 set matches? Now, it's all at your fingertips. The PTI tool is free to everyone. Download the Volley app today and level up your game. We'll see you on the court.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
The Birchwood Open in Highland Park, Illinois, with this men's final between McNerney Morgan and Merckx and Panek. McNerney Morgan won the first set 6-3. I'm Mike Raleigh alongside Guy Moore. Guy, what are your thoughts on that first set?
Well, again, it kind of lends itself to what we were just discussing before the break there. You know, this is a style of play that McNerney and Morgan are very adequate in dealing with. I mean, they have great hands. They like the transition. They don't give a lot of freebies away. So, you know, when you have Jonas Merckx and Brian Panek completely executing, it's going to be a really, really tight match. If you don't, you know, McNerney and Morgan take quick advantage of the errors that are created by driving 4 or 5 balls in a row.
Yeah, that, you know, and we saw it, McNerney and Morgan, you know, rip off 3 quick games. Merckx, Panek came back to 3-all, and then, you know, that three-game pattern continued with McNerney and Morgan closing out that first set. And I think McNerney and Morgan just are forcing their opponents to play and execute at such a high level that, you know, in order for Panek and Merckx to win this match, they've got to play near perfection. Where McNerney and Morgan, you know, they just play such a solid game that they don't give their opponents very much. And in order for you to win points against them, you got to earn them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They're just very disciplined, and not only that, they just have the experience to back it up. So, you know, to beat a team like McNerney and Morgan, which, I mean, they've had a very successful season together. I mean, for a lack of a better way to say it, and I will explain, I mean, you actually got to beat them. And what I mean by that is you got to cause them and disrupt their tempo. You have to cause them to scramble because they're completely fine playing fast or slow. Mm-hmm. And that's why they've had the success they've had. I think McNerney, too, Mike, over in that backhand corner just, I mean, and we've said this for a few years now, I mean, his style of play lends well for any partner he plays with because he's constantly setting his partner up by the lobs and hitting the balls to the spots in the court that create movement and confusion.
Yeah, that's a great point. Here's an unrelated question for you. You know, looking at, we were talking earlier about Burris and Elliott and Regalado and Salazar. Both teams have won 5 tournaments this year. Who's having the better season?
Explain that question. What do you mean?
Well, you know, you look at 2 dominant teams in the game today in both the men's and the women's side. They both won 5 tournaments. Burris, Elliott have not lost. You know, as we look into the Nationals and in the road to Nationals, who's the bigger favorite?
You know, I think they're both favorites.
Right.
I mean, I think everyone would say that, hey, the money's on Burris and Elliott and the money's on Regalado Salazar. But, you know, I was having this conversation with a very good friend of mine the other day, and I mean, I feel like this is the first time in a long time, especially on the men's side, that there's 5-6 teams that have a shot to win the Nationals legitimately. Mm-hmm. And I'll come back to this, but just to kind of reintroduce our players for all those watching on the far side of the screen in the deuce side, hitting the ball now, Adam Morgan, gray sweats, navy sweatshirt, his partner, Graham McNerney. I could say this, can I, Mike, with the ponytail?
Yeah, he's one of the number one seed on the all-hair team. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he is. I mean, that's a good way to look at Graham in the red kind of burgundy shirt. Brian Panek with the blue shoes and gray top, black sweats, and his partner, Jonas Merckx, in the gray top, white shoes. Yeah, I will say this too. An interesting conversation that you hear the top players on both the men's and women's side having every now and again. How much is too much to play together during a season? Because you are exposing yourself to a lot of different teams. There's good and bad in that, right?
Well, and I think the elite teams, players are trying to figure out, what do we got to do to beat them? And I mean, I think to your point, they can't stay at home.
Right.
So they're exposing themselves, but they're also honing their, they're getting better as well. And you hear, discussion. I love to talk to teams about, what are you doing to get better? What are you working on? As we go further and further in the season, I can guarantee you that each one of these players and teams have a list of things that they're attempting to get better at.
No doubt. And if you take the other, you could take the easy side of that question is just to say, hey, you know what? We're going to play our 4 or 5 tournaments, and then that's it. So everyone's not getting great looks at us all the time. But then the flip side is like, hey, we do want to play, so we figure out how we can beat everybody.
Right.
I mean, you gotta say that Regalado, Salazar, even though I'm sure they, like any of us, despise losing to Broader Christian, but guess what? They haven't had a look at Broader Christian. I mean, that's a much different style of play. And so them getting a look at them helps them if they have to play them at the Nationals.
Great point. We had talked about the team nationals guy, and one of the things for the players that are considering signing up when it goes live tomorrow is that we basically will look at the teams and take the 4 top PTIs and the average, and that's pretty much how we put them into their subgroups. So the range might be 10 to 15 points, but we really look at the top 4 PTIs of the team, and that average will dictate kind of where they're placed in the draws.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, shout out to Ann Waldron. She just blew up my phone and with that question. It's a great point.
And it's worth mentioning, too, Mike, when you're playing against players with great hands who have a great tennis background, you always want to be looking to cover your corner because obviously tennis players like to volley with angle.
Angles and pace, right?
Okay, there you go.
That was a great first game there for Merckx and Panek. That was, I think, important that they come out and start strong in this second set.
And that's exactly how they've rolled through the tournament, exactly like that game. Quick points, good hands, volleys, drives.
Yeah, the APTA's done a good job of this week. We had a couple of the top players having to drop out due to illness, so they 2 of the top seeded teams lost half of their team in the men's side, and it also happened on the women's. So kudos to the APTA and being able to pivot quickly and redo the draws. It's been a great tournament so far. The staff here at Birchwood Club it was rocking last night, and they were all working real hard.
There's that forehand volley I was talking about. McNerney does a good job of always hitting that in front of him.
Boy, that was
Right on the line. Yeah.
a nice little
Threaded it.
drive down the line.
That's a good look from McNerney, though. He likes that shot. Holds it well. So after that great first game by Merckx and Panek, they want to back it up here. They don't want to have a quick game go the other way because that just redirects all the momentum back to McNerney Morgan.
And we all know that is a fickle. Momentum is a fickle thing, isn't it? Great two-hander
Yeah.
from Panek there.
I don't know if I've heard that word in a while. I like it, though, Mike.
What's
Fickle.
that? Fickle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Feel free to use it whenever you like, Guy.
What do you think's better for Morgan and McNerney? McNerney hitting more overheads or Morgan? Or sharing their responsibilities, kind of like they have been?
You know, I think the more overheads that McNerney's hitting, the better it is for the team, just because his range and as you know, a team, I think the more overheads that Morgan's hitting, it benefits Merckx and Panek. Just in the sense that, you know, the fewer times that Graham is touching the ball, they're not allowing him to hurt him as much.
Yeah, I agree. He has a little bit more variety. And Morgan's overhead's great. I mean, great neutralizing overhead, but McNerney has more spin, and his roller plays a little differently than Morgan's. And let's just state the complete obvious. I mean, he's tall,
Yeah.
so the range is there.
What a get.
Wow.
Good move from Panek. He took a page out of McNerney's book and little blitz in behind that ball. And
Yeah, great move by Merckx. Wow. So, you know, these first two games are what we kind of discussed at the end of the first set, Mike, and that's, I mean, this is the style of play that Panek and Merckx enjoy, and obviously why they're good at it. But they like to stuff volleys. There's the angle volley we were talking about earlier. They want the quickness of the points here.
Merckx had a little
And
too
if
many
they-
options
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Eeny, meeny, miny, no.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
All right. It was necessary.
topspin lob. You didn't see that much in
Yeah.
this game, do you?
No, he held that a little bit. Yeah, I think McNerney's overhead might just applies a little bit more pressure. And again, going back to what we mentioned a moment ago, just the variety of it. You know, he's got the waterfall, he's got the roller, he's got the cutter, right?
Yeah, not to take anything away from Morgan's overhead, but
Not at all.
and that, we get into, again, you look at that game, the quickness, it is boom, 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 that is such a tough for Panek and Merckx to be able to, they worked so hard to win the first 2 games, and then we were not seeing the same level of work that McNerney and Morgan to win that game. So it just is, it's a bit of as a team, it's hard, right? That you work so dang hard to win the first 2 games, and then it's like, boom.
McNerney and Morgan's margin of error is much greater than Merckx and Panek just because of the ratios with driving and lobbing. I mean, if they're on, they're on. They're going to roll. If they're making, sprinkling errors and batting 500, you're going to get what you see so far. Mike, would you say a team that likes to drive the ball, and again, all good, but going back to what we mentioned in the first set, I mean, they're used to creating volley mistakes and errors. If they're not getting that and are still driving, then matches will go against them.
Yeah, because then they have to keep cranking it to feel like it's not working, I got to do more.
Right. I mean, McNerney was all over the net there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was on that like a rash. I mean, look at that.
And we said earlier, too, about the serve going in the screen. There's a good example. It just allowed him all day to get to the net and not even running, walking there. And then when he saw Merckx paddle go high, he knows it's going to be a screen drive. Hey, Mike, would you also say if both Adam Morgan and we know Allison Morgan already won the women's side, if they both win their tournament at their club, that's pretty good for job security, isn't it?
You would think so. You would think being the host club, host professional, as well as the tournament directors, it's a pretty solid weekend for them. I don't think they'll be able to take tomorrow off, though.
No. So as we said earlier, Mike, 6-3, 2-all in the second, but still the tempo of this match is pretty quick, right?
Yeah, we've only been going for a little over an hour, right?
Yeah.
Boy, that's
Very fun match. Very fun match to watch, though.
You see the movement pattern there from Morgan, how he's cutting the corner off and moving on the diagonal to drive that ball rather than moving on a kind of parallel to the net. Crucial anytime somebody's moving to drive. Pretty much any time you've got to have your weight going forward, but boy, if you're trying to cut that ball off, you've got to bisect the angle rather than moving, catching up to it. Another
Yeah,
big
the
word
lateral
for you.
move.
Yeah. It's a good serve.
Sure was. And the combination you just saw McNerney put together there is, lobbing with purpose, that chip lob down the line, and then chipping his backhand because he's taking the volley player off the net.
Great hands from McNerney there.
All right, Mike, let me tell you about one of our great sponsors, Corient. Corient is excited to partner with the APTA because whether as advisors to our members or as members themselves, they are already part of the APTA community. Learn more at www.corient.com, the official wealth sponsor of the APTA. So 3 quick games here from Morgan McNerney.
Yeah, it's kind of the same pattern we saw in the first set, little mini runs. What I like about it is you don't see McNerney and Morgan. There was no panic when they went down 2-love. And I don't mean Brian panic. They were not panicking. You don't see them, they maintained a real positive attitude.
Yeah, they're a team that will take it as it comes. They'll play a quick match in an hour and a half, or they'll stand out there for 4 hours. It doesn't matter to them.
At the Boston Open the other weekend in the finals, they came off the court after winning over a 3-hour match in the semis, and in the finals, the first 3 games took 45 minutes.
Right. I'm positive if we asked them, they would prefer the shorter matches.
Well, I don't know who would think that an hour and a half or 45-minute 3-game stretch is. Boy, unless you're a turtle, playing that slow wouldn't be any fun. Great move there.
Yeah, and Merckx and Panek, especially Merckx, committed to what style he likes to play, which I think is great. I mean, he's good at it.
Yeah, if they're just joining us, we're the Birchwood Open, the men's final between McNerney Morgan and Merckx and Panek. McNerney Morgan are up 3-2 in the second set after winning 6-3 in the first. I'm Mike Raleigh alongside Guy Moore. Earlier today, we had Allison Morgan, Charlotte Sikora, victorious in the finals. Adam is hoping to complete the double whammy of husband-wife champions here at the Birchwood Open. They're up 4-2 now.
And I will say, Mike, that a big difference in what's happened these last 4 games is McNerney being in that overhead position. His cutter's getting better and better. And listen, you know, a ball he hits 10 shots into it could cause the point being lost 15 balls in. You know what I mean? Because everyone's scrambling and off balance.
Boy,
Wow.
I mean, is there a more... I mean,
How
if
many
you-
steps did he just take to get there? Let's count.
1, 2,
1,
3, 4.
2. Well, yeah, I mean,
And then ended up being 5 at the
Yeah.
end.
Mike, you should. I mean, we should do that as a little clinic. A backhand screen drive and then blitz behind it
It's tough to teach. I mean,
in 5 steps.
yeah.
So for Merckx and Panek to get back into this, what do you think needs to happen? I mean, the match is a long ways from over, 4-2 in the second set, but down a set, down 4-2. What do you see, Mike?
You know, I think it comes down to they are going to have to play an extremely clean remainder of the match. You know, and when I say clean, it's the execution, especially when they go big with their drives. I'd like to see them blitzing off of the returns. They've had some pretty good success with that. So the returner partner blitzing in behind it to keep the pressure up on the volleyers. A great volley, by the way. And quite honestly, I think McNerney and Morgan would have to kind of take a step back with their focus.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think Panek and Merckx are going to slow this match down, and that's the right tactic. I think that it's a combination of things. You know, they're going to obviously playing their style because that's what's got them here, and just choosing wisely when they're starting that series of drives and when they are driving consecutive balls, really having a target and a thought process to create movement and confusion, not just trying to win the point. I mean, you just said it about the match in Boston with McNerney and Morgan. I mean, they're willing to play. Slowing it down sounds good until you play like 2 points that are 200 balls long each and say, hey, I really have to do this to win the match.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's daunting as an opponent when you've got someone that's, you know, you're playing at someone and they're willing to stay out there forever. Nice little drop shot there from McNerney to take a 5-2 lead in here in the second set.
And we want everyone to stay with us afterwards. Not that this match is close to being done, but we will have an on-court interview afterwards. So stick around, please. You'll be running the show out there with that interview, right, Mike?
Oh, yeah. I may need a little bit. I'm going to have to get my hair done and get some makeup on, but it shouldn't take too long.
Okay. You won't be in the green room too long?
Maybe 45 minutes.
You know, the other point worth noting is, you know, a team like McNerney and Morgan, when they get up, they don't play loose. They don't get relaxed. They keep playing to win the match the way they've been playing. They don't give you freebies. They don't go away, you know, mentally wise.
Yeah, I think the big tripping point for a lot of players out there is you start to project forward, you know, thinking, oh, we're only, you know, one game away from the trophy ceremony, or and you know, rather they do a great job of staying the course and, you know, continuing to put one foot in front of the other.
And that in and of itself adds pressure to the opposing team.
Yes.
Just knowing I have to keep doing more to win a game, a set, a point, you know.
Boy, great spot from McNerney.
Takes us to triple match point. Yeah, McNerney's right in his element here, Mike. Controlling the overheads and then closing and volleying behind players, and there you go. Wow, great get.
Oh, there we go. Game, set, and match to McNerney Morgan.
I'll tell you what, that's just a nice lesson in consistency there and staying the course and having a very, very good game plan from McNerney and Morgan. And Merckx and Panek, great tournament, getting to the finals. Just came up against a tough team there. We're going to have Mike Raleigh jumping on the court, getting an interview with our champions out there. And I would say that the big difference in this match, down, you know, certainly from being down 2-love in that second set to winning 6 games in a row, was McNerney hitting more overheads and kind of taking over the match at the net for sure. All Chicago team final there. So nice for the Birchwood Club and for all the supporters in Chicago area. Also, too, as we mentioned earlier, we have Short Hills coming up next weekend, final Grand Prix of the year. And then the tour heads to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for the Steel City Classic. And then we'll have the final men's event before the Nationals, the Indianapolis Open, on February 22nd and 23rd. And then the Nationals, March 6th through the 8th at the Philadelphia Cricket Club in Philly, PA. Here we have Mike Raleigh with Graham McNerney and Adam Morgan.
Congratulations, win number 3, is that right? Oh. You ready now?
I hope Cal has switched it over.
All right. Well, congratulations, gentlemen. Win number 3 on the for the season.
Feels right.
Hometown double Morgan win. What do you guys eating in the Morgan household?
Spaghetti.
Yeah, a little spaghetti.
That's
Lot
the
of-
go-to meal.
Well, it's you get to take tomorrow off, right?
Tomorrow I'll be working.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well,
Allison gets it off.
so we're looking forward to we got nationals. What between now and nationals? What's
Yeah, I think we got Short Hills next weekend, which it looks like every team in the world has signed up for,
Yeah.
so that's going to be tough, so that'll be great. And then Indianapolis, hopefully can get a win there. And then we'll be ready to go for nationals.
wow. And we were talking online or on the stream about teams that are. What are you guys working on? You know, nobody's taking any time off. Nobody's happy with the way they're playing now. I know you're happy, but between now and then, what are we working on?
I don't know if there's anything particular working on. I think it's just getting our patterns and our strategy right. Like we learned a lot in Boston. We did some things that we hadn't done before, putting Adam on the left side of the net and having me kind of roam the net, and then also switching in the backcourt a little bit. So I think we're just trying to kind of really drill in our patterns so I don't take too many of Adam's overheads reaching to the right and the middle, and we kind of know how we want to attack particular players. So just really drill it in so that we're not learning on the fly at nationals.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. What about for you there, Coach?
Yeah, kind of same stuff. Graham's kind of our strategist. But yeah, we're just trying to figure out the right patterns, when to attack, when to play defense. Just the more matches we play together, I think the better we get.
Good to hear. You got anything to say to the hometown crowd?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say thank you to the Birchwood Club, all the staff, all the volunteers, all of our members for a great event. I want to thank our sponsors, Crane Construction, Mesero, Renovo, Lynn Wise Group, Bob Wise Investments, and 28 Mile. Thank you all. It was a great event.
Yeah, great tournament. Any final thoughts?
No, I think you got all the sponsors. So I think we're
all
good.
right. Well, great. That's a wrap. We'll see everybody next weekend. I believe it's Short Hills. Good luck,
Short
guys.
Hills. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
At Volley, we build tools to unlock your potential. The new Volley PTI feature breaks down your game like never before. Ever wondered, which partner has impacted my PTI the most? What's our win percentage as the favorite or underdog? Do I perform differently in 2 or 3 set matches? Now, it's all at your fingertips. The PTI tool is free to everyone. Download the Volley app today and level up your game. We'll see you on the court.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.